Hello. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's the last Wednesday of the month. Can you believe it? Half of the year na. Officially. I think officially half of the year na. Naka 6 months na tayo, guys. So, I welcome everyone to our exciting live stream for tonight with our partnership in BDJ Studios and Mind Nation because every last Wednesday of the month, we do our monthly check-in and we want to be able to cap it off this month very it's a very very special month for us because we want to cap it off with beautiful insightful conversations on mental health and well-being together with our mental health partner Mind Nation for a better mind better you. So I'm Dar. I'll be one of your hosts tonight, and of course I will bring in my beautiful partner Kat Trevino from Mind Nation. Hello, Kat.
Hi! Hello, Dar. Kamusta? Hello, everyone. Happy June. Happy Pride. Oh my goodness. How
Yes.
are you, Dar? How are you doing?
It's been crazy. Parang ang bilis, no? Parang, I don't know, parang the past 3 months, suddenly, nag-full steam ahead, bigla. Or
Suddenly,
this month, suddenly, parang
suddenly
naging
it's half.
times 10 yung speed.
Oh my
So,
God.
parang
Every
bumibilis
Oh,
at this
and now we're
time.
back here. We're chatting again. Every stream, we make sure to give you guys something extra special. And this month, it's dedicated to our brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ plus community. Every June, we celebrate Pride Month. But what does this really mean? Last Saturday, the Philippines actually celebrated Pride March and Festival led by the Metro Manila Pride, and Mind Nation was actually the event's official mental health partner. So very exciting. And hi to everyone and to those that are joining us tonight. Happy Pride to you all. Dar, how did you celebrate Pride Month?
For me, pride is really all about love, like being able to accept parang each other for who we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
And I don't know about you, but parang nakikita ko sa Facebook feed ko. So hindi ko alam kung may energy ba guys in the air na parang lumalabas yung mga marites sa mga buhay natin. I don't know if you're seeing it. I don't know if it's just my circle, pero nakikita ko yung mga marites sa buhay na nagko-complain, some Bellas over the other. And then parang, I guess generally the advice lumalabas yung issues ng ibang tao about us, and we're just trying to be who we are. And sometimes people would judge us for what we've gone through without really understanding our context. So for me, the Pride Month is really just being able to accept, love ourselves for who we are, and who we are not. And acceptance and love lang yan. So,
Beautifully said.
ayan.
Yeah.
How about you? Kamusta ka naman?
Very, like what you said, but ang bilis. Ang bilis ng mga pangyayari. And it's very exciting because even within Mind Nation, it was also very nice to be able to partner with organizations like Queer Safe Spaces. We had Soji Talks and trainings that were amazing to have. We had rallies with different partners and also our partnership with yun nga, Metro Manila Pride. And for me, talking about pride and talking about how I can be a better ally to the community is always so meaningful to me, and
Correct.
it's really important that we get to share that same kind of equality, that love, and that hope for others as well.
Yes, yes. It's very important that we're able to create space for each individual, no matter how different. Kasi wala naman talagang parehas or exactly the same na tao eh. So it's very important that we create safe spaces for each other.
Okay.
So, ayan. Exciting. Very meaningful yung topic natin tonight. And I'm excited to be here. It's my second time to be one of our special guests. So I'm
Ooh.
very excited to have him back again. And how about everyone? Parang please do share your comments in the chat box if you guys have questions, you want to share your thoughts, and you want to be able to inspire us to live our truths, our individual truths. Please do
Oh,
say hi in our chat box. And
yeah.
of course, syempre, all the members of our LGBTQ community who are watching and with us today, please do say hi.
Yeah,
Special month
hashtag
to celebrate you
share the
guys.
rainbow flag emojis, and it's so exciting. Like what you said, Dar, it's such a meaningful topic, and you're so right. The rally towards a healthy and safe community for all genders, identities, and expressions is one that goes far beyond the month of June. And we're so honored to have tonight two amazing guests with us to share their thoughts and inspire us on how to actually live that truth or to be
Correct.
proud to live that truth as well. So make sure that like if you're saying hi, say hi, send in your questions as well to our two guests anytime during the stream. Let's get started.
Yes, so let me bring in our first guest. He is MindNation's chief evangelist, currently based in New York. So guys, pag napansin nyo na medyo
Umaga.
maliwanag kasi nasa New York siya. With an inspiring story of resilience and success from his humble beginnings with perseverance, he has worked incredibly hard to eventually be lead in the top multinationals like P&G, Reckitt, and now MindNation. So here to tell us more about his story on perseverance and how he lives in truth in the workplace, let us bring in Richard Estrella. Hello,
Woo!
Richard.
Hello, good morning or good evening to folks in the Philippines. Good morning from my side of the world. Really thrilled to be here and, waking up this early for this topic, for this discussion is just really worth it. So I can't wait to share the stage as well, or virtual stage rather, with our next guest. But yeah, hello everyone.
Really glad
Ayan.
to have you, Richard. I'm so excited because Richard is such a pleasure to work with, and we're excited to learn more about his story. I've heard his story, and I'm sure it'll inspire many people as well. So thank you for joining us this morning, Richard.
Thank you so much.
Now, our next guest is a very familiar face on your screens. Macoy Dubs, also known as Macoy Averilla, is a Filipino comedian who became popular on social media thanks to his skits and hilarious persona as Aunt Julie. And, this his wittiness and charismatic personality has ultimately led him to become the certified social media superstar that he is. Today, he's a staunch LGBT and sex ed advocate, podcaster, tarot reader. I don't know if you've ever heard his tarot
Oh.
readings on Spotify. It's amazing. And speaker with an equally moving story. Please welcome Macoy Dubs. Ay,
Hello. Ayan, nawala. Sorry.
Hello
Hello,
everyone. Hello
Makoy.
Dar, Kat. Magandang gabi. Richard, good morning dyan sa
Hi,
US.
Makoy.
Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for inviting me here. It's such a pleasure po. Maraming salamat.
exciting.
Super excited
Super.
to have you
Yes.
here. So, kamusta naman kayo, guys? How are you, Makoy, in the past, I guess, 6 months?
Ay, oo. In the past 6 months, syempre, after December, nagbakasyon ng very light sa US. And then after that, nag-participate sa mga initiatives. But now most of the time, freelancing work and podcasting, yun ang pinagkakaabalahan natin right now.
How
Ganda,
about
ang
you?
ganda, by the way, ang ganda ng audio. Sabi
Yeah.
ko,
Thank
para bang
you.
para bang podcast talaga.
Pang podcast,
Grabe
pang
naman.
podcast.
Salamat.
How about you, Richard?
Well, I would say the last 6 months was about change really. So I moved from Philippines now to New York to study in Colombia. So I mean a lot of things like a change in the environment, change in weather, minsan malamig, minsan maaraw, minsan maulan. But I guess just like life, I mean all these changes we have to be used to it, but at the same time also like really process, take time na last 6 months, you were right there earlier na parang oh, half na ng 2022 tapos na. Boom. Parang in a second you will be welcoming another year. So the question is how will you spend the second half of the year as well? So I think that's the key question in my head right now.
Okay. Let's get to know each other a little bit more, Richard and Macoy. Can you tell us more about where you're from, a fun fact about you that nobody knows, and maybe how a little bit also on how you got to become the individuals you are today? We can start with Macoy.
Ayun, thank you, Kat. Well, before kasi after graduation, it's really my dream to to be a newscaster or field
Mm,
reporter. Kaya ako nag take ng communication arts nung college. Pero alam mo yung minsan 'di ba you have plans in life na minsan hindi talaga align, 'di ba? Parang ano ba 'yan, universe? Why don't you give this to me? Mga ganon, no? So, I decided to work in a publication, major newspaper. After graduation, I worked there for a year, and then after that, I transferred to real estate. I worked there for 2 years, and doon ako pumasok sa advertising
mm,
until such time na I decided to create content in 2017. Before it was dub videos pa. That's why
mm.
Macoy Dubs yung name ko sa Facebook because of the dub videos. And then, since 2017, yun yung mga videos na ginagawa natin. And TikTok happened in 2020. Alam nyo na, di ba,
Yeah.
bored, work from home. So, doon ako nag-decide na mag-create ng mga personas. And Auntie Julie happened in 2020 August. So, doon mas kumbaga nag-amplify yung reach ko sa social media. I
Yeah.
didn't hope for it, pero syempre, you know naman how algorithm works, no? So, yun, for the past 5 years of doing content on social media, there is bliss, but there is also, alam mo na, may mga low times also. But
Yeah.
nahahanap naman natin yung perfect balance. Yun naman yung importante doon.
Beautifully said.
Yeah,
Again,
inspiring story.
ang
Yeah,
ganda.
tama
Thank
talaga.
you.
Parang there's really like a lot of ups and downs talaga eh. But I guess
Yeah.
it's really also part of life. At least, diba? I mean, we know that we're really living through the times.
Yeah. And
That's
So,
true.
we'd love to hear more later on about like how you got to really control that tide, diba? Kasi you said nga na parang you started off you wanted to be a broadcaster and then it's not what exactly was in the stars for you at that moment, but now you're in some form of broadcasting now in audio but in podcast form. So it's
yes.
amazing. So that I think it's the universe saying, oh, wait lang, be patient. So
Kailangan, kailangan
agree.
yung
Sana, no?
boses mo in this world. Yes.
Agree. Richard, how about you? Tell us
Yeah,
more
so
about your journey.
I think really fun fact then, I also aspired to become a broadcaster initially.
I love
Yun
that.
sana yung course ko sa UP. But then I realized, and ito very, I think very simple lang yung reason ko. Like sometimes when you're new in the industry, wala ka sa New Year kasi you should be there in the New Year countdown, or sometimes pag may bago you have to be there. So I was like, kaya ba? Kaya ba to be away from your family in those important events in life? But I think that's a simpler reason aside. I think the deeper reason is that I'm a breadwinner. I'm a proud provinciana from Bulacan. I think coming here to New York is a dream for me. I started like just dreaming and singing alone in my little space in my own room in Bulacan, and now I think that helped me really go to different places, not only through travel, but even having like the roles that I handled in, multinational companies, never really thought of like getting into that initially. But I realized that the beauty of my story is about just pushing myself along the way and making sure that the belief is there so that I can move forward all the time. And right now, this is another push. Like what I'm doing is another push, another way to inspire others so that more Bulakeños or more Bulakeñas can actually,
Yes.
like aspire, like, oh, kaya din natin yan. If they see living truth, which is what we stand for
Mm-mm.
this month, then they can also like find that truth and live with it for themselves. So yeah, that's my story.
Mm. I love it kasi napaka-important talaga sa atin, sa mga Pilipino. I mean, in general, as human beings, that we really need to see role models. Kasi parang, I really believe the adage nga na to see is to believe. So, it's so important that we tell our story para others watching us today or parang if the video is shared, diba? Parang stories nyo. So, yung theme nga natin tonight, Richard, you said it, living my truth. So, let's talk about your truth. So, did you always feel proud to be who you are or your identity?
Ako, well, at the start, syempre, years back, I'm 30 years old right now. Siguro 20 years ago, it's not like as advanced in terms of thinking about, sexuality, individuality, most especially in the province. So there's double standard.
Mm-mm.
One is that when you act differently in a group of people, then sometimes people will single you out and like highlight, oh, you're different, or not necessarily because you're unique, but you're just different, mostly in a negative
Correct,
way. So
correct.
they will call you anything that they want. Second, I think the challenge is that when you're in this kind of group, you always have to prove yourself that you're worthy of their time, you're worthy of their
Mm.
attention,
Mm-mm.
that you're worthy of anything. And hence you study hard, you try to strive for a better career to prove that just like them, you're in equal footing, or if not like better. So I think those are the societal standards which anyone, I think, has to live up to, which
Yeah.
I think slowly we're getting there, that you don't have to prove it to anyone but yourself. But I guess that was
Yes.
the hard part, like being there in a rural area, and also, establishing that you're just like the other people and that your actions do not define who you really are. So I think that was the
Mm.
starting point.
Yeah, it's very, ano no, parang I think the growing up years talaga natin, there's really that need or that feeling
Mm-mm.
to belong, like, and again, we'll discuss a bit more in detail with that. But
Yes.
balikan lang natin si Makoy. Kamusta naman, Makoy? I mean, I guess going with our theme tonight, like, have you always been proud of who you are or your identity?
Hmm. Super ano no, super nice question also. But same feelings with Richard. You know, growing up then, especially in the Philippines, this is a very conservative country, 'di ba?
Yes.
Um Ako kasi maliit pa lang, alam ko na eh. Ramdam ko na talaga. Actually, my mom, nahuli niya ako at the age of 5 na ginagamit ko yung lipstick niya. Because 5 years old, prep ako eh. So, very curious
Mm.
ako. So, pero since I grew up from a broken family, yung forming years ko kasi nasa mother side ko talaga, no? Nanay ko talaga nagpalaki sa akin. So, I guess the tolerance is, alam mo yon, yung gentle. Hindi ako yung pinagalitan na, ba't ka gumamit ng lipstick? O, di ba? Tapos bubugbugin, di ba? Walang ganun eh. Hindi ko siya
Mm.
na-experience. But, so I must say, siguro sa loob ng bahay namin, accepted ako, kahit maliit pa lang, tanggap ng mom ko. But when you go sa school, di ba, yan na yun eh, sa mga barkada
Mm-mm.
na,
Correct.
oh, yan na. Tatanungin ka na, bakit puro Britney yung pinapakinggan mo? Bakit, di ba? Bakit puro Christina Aguilera? Bakla ka ba, Mark? Mga ganyan. So, syempre, yung may mga experiences ka na i-cast out ka sa group, di ba? Huwag kasali sa
Oo.
amin kasi lambot mo kumilos eh. Mga ganon, di ba? So, maliit pa lang, may ganun na akong thought na tanggap ako sa bahay. So, safe space ko yung bahay. Pero pagdating sa school, nabubuli ako talaga nung elementary. But I changed in high school. Talagang in-embrace ko na kung sino ako. And
Wow.
talagang pinakita ko na until nag-college hanggang sa nagkatrabaho, in-embrace ko na yung identity ko. Yun.
Ang ganda, and I love
Very
that
brave.
yeah, both of you have a very different experiences when it comes to really harnessing that identity or that truth. Parang even though in your heart alam mo, okay, I accept myself in some level, pero how do I harness that or make people feel that I accept myself? And
Correct.
it showed in you, Makoy, nung high school na parang, okay, eto na, this is who I am. And it also, you also mentioned about it also earlier, Richard. But what was that moment talaga, or what was that particular instance, or was there a person that actually inspired you na parang, you know what, it's really time for me to just like
Mm-mm.
be my truest self?
Yeah.
Richard.
Sige. I think I remember myself, uso kasi nun yung videoke na sa Bulacan. You have to go and you sing. Si Miss Regine, ang dami niyang magandang songs. And at the same time, I think Doremi was a very famous movie back then.
Mm-mm.
I think nag-resonate sa akin yung kantang I Can, na parang, and I was singing alone in that karaoke bar. Like, meron akong dala-dalang ₱5 and I was singing I Can dun sa place na yon. At I think 7 years old. And I realized na
Wow.
parang while singing that song alone, nanonood lang yung may-ari nung karaoke bar, parang, yeah, no, parang no judgment. I can do this. I mean, I can live with the message of the song. And ever since that time, I just always tell myself that I can. And I think good thing din na rhyming siya sa Bulakyan. So parang lahat dito is like you can do it if you put it in your mind. So yun yung naging starting point ko. And you listen to the songs to make sure that you get inspired by those songs. But that was a turning point for me.
I love that. How about you, Makoy?
Me, nakakatuwa yung story ni Richard kasi I'm 29 naman. So very, talaga din ang Do Re Mi.
Yes.
Mga panahon na yan. Oo, I Can. Tsaka yung mga kanta ni Donna Cruz.
Mm-mm.
'Di ba? Oo. Ako naman, it's a different story din. Kasi, high school naman ako eh. Yun nga, kasi parang elementary,
Hindi pa siya.
nabubuli ako, ganyan. So, high school ko in-embrace talaga. I was third year high school nung naging part ako ng COCC. Yun yung first stage.
Military.
Yeah, yung
'Di ba yun yung
military.
nagbabaril? Yeah, I mean, we were playing with the fake guns.
Oo. Oh, fake naman. Pero may din, na nagbo-boots, 'di ba? Tapos may
Oo,
commander
yeah, yeah, yeah.
kayo, ganon.
Mm.
So, officer ako ng COCC. Yun yung first stage, 'di ba? Before ka mag-CAT or yung Citizenship Advancement Training. I was an officer at COCC and lagi akong inaaway ng commander kasi bakit may kembot daw or ba't daw yung boses ko may yung may kulot gano'n. Sabi ko, eto hindi, ang hirap baguhin ba't ko babaguhin? So, may ganun akong instance na nasagot ko siya. And then there was a time, pag uwi ko ng bahay, sabi ko sa nanay ko, ma, ba't ganon? Ba't ako pinipilit na magpakatigas? Hindi ako ganon. So, sabi ng nanay ko, hindi mo kailangan mag-pretend. Kung ano ka, edi yun ang ipakita mo, di ba? Let it flow. Let it out, ganyan. So, yun yung natutunan ko that every time na nasa school ako, parang I don't need to pretend na kung meron akong playlist ng mga 90s pop song na puro babae ang singers, go ahead, mag-enjoy tayo. So that's the turning point for me na in-embrace ko siya until such time na hanggang sa nag-college, hindi ako tinatanong na bakla ka ba or ganyan. Kasi nakikita naman na nila na tanggap ko din sa sarili ko.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you mentioned about, I can see na your mom and, the environment at home was really that safe space for you and was really that support system that you need to be able to embrace your truth, and whatever version of support system or safe space that is, whether that's in a small karaoke bar like Richard, na I can just be myself and there's no judgment at all. There's
Correct.
really the importance in having those kinds of opportunities or those spaces in your journey to becoming your best self and your truest self. But a lot of people don't have that same access, diba? And those are some of the challenges that we're seeing with some stories of people that are having a hard time coming out or even accepting who they are. Kasi they feel that it won't be the same way, they will be judged, etc. What are other challenges today that prohibit someone from actually living their truth, whether that's in the workplace, at home, or maybe in school or in the community? We can start with you, Richard.
Yeah. I think one really is acceptance. I think acceptance from all sides of your persona, like acceptance from deep within, acceptance from the considered safe spaces, and acceptance from at least the people you trust. Um, and sometimes tinitimpla mo siya na parang you're not 100%, you make it like you adjust yourself all the time. Like halimbawa, if this group has just 50% acceptance rather, 50% lang din yung showcase mo of your truest self. Yun
Mm.
yung, and then kung 25% lang dito sa isang group na to, okay, yung 75% mo, tinatago mo siya ulit sa closet. So, I guess the secret there is that what is your 100% really mean? And it doesn't have to be within a certain stereotype. It doesn't have to be within a standard. You have to make sure that you showcase that. And that adjustment isn't necessary talaga for you to do. That's one. And then the second one really is the society is still in a very young, I would say, mindset in terms of doing this. Like, for example, during Pride Month and all that, for others, it's just having a flag or like potentially putting someone in front. Like, kung LGBT, okay, Pride Month. Yun na yung Pride Month for me. So I think na-scratch natin yung surface pero we don't actually go through the detail of the challenges, etc. So I think
Mm-mm.
there, the challenge is people understanding ano ba talaga yung issues, ano ba talaga yung pinagdadaanan ng someone in that specific group, and openly accepting and trying to help on that matter.
I'm sensing na also na like part of the challenges talaga when it comes to talking about being proud of who you are and your identity is also understanding within yourself ano ba yung 100% mo, what does that look like, and it depends if you have, for example, a role model. It's great na now we have more representation on TV and movies, although minsan parang pa side character pa lang siya, we have more of those opportunities. BL is also already something that's growing. So there are really more ways for us to educate and find role models or people that we can align with. Kasi sometimes you don't even know where to start. But maybe, Macoy, you can also share with us like how are some ways that it's changed now that that can make it easier for someone to actually find their 100% or to find who they truly are.
Mm. Thank you. Kat, Dar, and Richard, syempre, may mga developments din naman tayo nakikita, 'di ba, in the recent years. And of course, most of the LGBTQIA people na nakikilala natin, no, talaga nagfa-flourish sila, na-embrace nila yung truth nila kapag kasama din nila yung mga tao na tinatanggap sila. Like for example, just a few example that we can share, no. Example, in the advertising industry, the ad industry is very, accepting. Maraming LGBTQ people na nagtatrabaho sa industriyang ito. And if the company also supports, no, yung mga ganitong grupo or communities, na unleash din nila yung kanilang 100% na talento sa trabaho. Kumbaga, mas nagiging creative sila, mas engaging sila, mas active sila sa participation, sa mga activities,
Mm-mm.
kesyo company activities yan or not. But of course, the challenge pa din, most of the challenge, based from my experience, sa school. Because I was a professor for 2 years. I was teaching in college. And most of the time talaga nakikita ko, yung roles, yung gender roles when it comes to schools, yung mga tinuturo sa modules, it has to be changed, 'di ba? Parang like for example, uh, when you see a nurse, ang iisipin mo, pambabae na trabaho ang nurse. So, syempre, ang bata, iisipin, pambabae lang ang nurse. Di ba? Parang gano'n. Ang
Yeah.
police ay pang lalaki lamang. So,
Mm-mm.
parang, okay. So, pag nagpulis ako, lalaking-lalaki dapat ako. So, parang nagkakaroon ng ano, yung hindi na bibigay ng 100%, di ba? So, parang pati yung bata, kahit siguro na-feel na nung bata na feeling ko hindi ako straight, something like that, naaano na siya, 'di ba? Yung parang nararattle na siya, marami na siyang iniisip at the back of their minds. So ganon. And that's the challenge. I think it starts inside the school, but of course may kailangan din tayong i-address sa pamilya naman. So dito napapasok yung societal issues na tinatawag. But yon, maraming factors. But in the recent years, madalas ko nakikita talaga kapag nagsa-start na magtrabaho yung mga nasa communities natin.
Actually, that's very important what you said, Makoy. I remember there's like parang sa girls din, like parang if you look at parang storybooks, yung bata, like 'di ba yung ako, I mean, ako I have two kids on 4 and 6 years old, and then 'di ba we read books to them when as a child. And majority of the times, and I'm sure it's worse for the LGBTQ community, na parang the first books that they will see and the books majority in the market are guy yung lead. And sometimes yung women, may isang speaking role lang. Or
Mm-mm.
minsan wala pang trabaho, parang side ano lang, extra lang, parang partner lang. So like, they did an inventory of so many books, children's books, like the top 100 most popular children's books, and you will see how small the representation is. And this is so important kasi imagine mo, parang Cory, ito yung naramdaman mo. Sabi mo, Makoy, 5 years old, di ba? That's Richard, you felt
Mm.
it at 7.
Mhm.
So what books were you reading? And then parang, then you really feel estranged with the world. I mean, disconnected na parang yung mga books na nababasa mo, hindi man lang
Mm-mm.
nakaka-connect with how you feel about yourself or how at least you see yourself, di ba?
Oo. And even
So,
those that are not part of the community, no, parang it doesn't help the stigma, and this is why the bullying happens, is because the way that they
correct.
also grew up, and the materials and the books and the movies and shows that they
Mhm.
grow up watching, they don't see being part of the LGBTQ community as a normal thing. They think that, oh,
Mhm.
it's not what's the status quo, it's not part of the stereotype, and therefore it's okay to judge it, it's okay to make fun of it because it's different. And it's great that we are making strides now. I think last year, a part of one of my nation's activities with one of our partners was actually to read it's stories retold with pride. So we were actually changing stories to have more LGBT leads. Like for example,
Mhm.
Ibong Adarna, it's girl on girl, and so on and so forth. And even stories of trans and coming out and
Mhm.
transitioning. And all of these things are, we think they're so small. Yung mga stories, mga storybooks, children's books, and even yung the way that we teach our kids na the roles of the career na parang, this is more for women. Na
Mhm.
itong pang TV, itong entertainment, yan ang pwedeng pang pang community. And it puts people in boxes, and that's, I think, something that we're trying to actively fight against. That, you're not supposed to be judging someone based on their sexual identity, their expression, and how they choose to live their life.
Yeah. So, ang ganda. I really love it.
Sige.
Okay, meron na tayong idea.
Mm.
Ganda,
Yeah.
ganda.
Yes. Siguro just to add na lang on that point, if for example you're a person na without access to to books. The only thing is that your access to TV and shows, right? In the
Oo.
shows as well, you'll see that. For example, kung bakla ka, ang role mo usually ikaw yung kumare na nag-iihaw-ihaw o kaya
Mhm.
ikaw yung pupuntahan sa parlor. Kung
Yeah.
tomboy ka naman, ikaw yung nandun ka sa court, nagko-coordinate ka, but you're never the star player.
Yeah.
And so, you'll see it being applied also in school as Makoy mentioned na pag nagkaroon na ng role play sa school, kung nasa LGBT ka, you never expect yourself to be a lead. Maghahanap ka ng, ay, alin dyan yung katawa-tawang character, alin dyan yung masaya.
Correct.
Oo.
Na
Yeah.
parang hindi ka
Yeah.
pwedeng mag-dream na ikaw yung lead kasi
Bida. Mhm.
na-box ka na right away. So, I think yun yung
Mm.
other, parang how we
Yeah.
apply what we see also.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pag napunta ka dun sa isang role na you're not necessarily the hero or you the achiever or the one who parang yeah, that's very true. So, ngayon, actually, it's June 29. So, one day, last day before Pride Month ends. So, how did you guys celebrate it? Or or another question, if you would want, is like, what does that mean to you on a personal perspective?
Yeah.
Richard, ikaw na muna.
Sige, ako first time to celebrate it in New York. I think very festive as in ang laki, ang ganda, ang meaningful ng parade. In a way that you're seeing that the representation is not only about gender stereotypes, but the representation is coming from organizations which support the advocacy. Now, parang you'll see na, okay, Trevor Project was there, schools were there also, na parang if we create that community, na parang regardless if you have it or if you don't have it, that will make sure that the parang the pride is there. So I think that's one way of like me celebrating it. But at the same time, I also remind myself that pride is not something I celebrate on a specific day or on a specific month.
Mm.
It's every day. So I want people to realize
Right.
na normal lang kahit next month mag-pride tayo, go lang. Hindi tayo pang June lang na character.
Yes.
Entire
Yes.
year tayo. So, yun yung parang mindset that I want to also have for my friends and for everyone. Yeah.
How about you, Makoy?
Yes, you know what? Natutuwa ako sa experience ni Richard because New York is one of the epicenters, 'di ba, of Pride festivities. Like for example sa Taiwan, 'di ba? That's the epicenter naman dito sa sa Asia.
Asia.
Tapos 'di ba sa US you have New York and you have California, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Yes.
In Europe naman, you have, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, ano ba, Paris? O, di ko sure, no? Pero I'm sure marami din kasi very open din ang Europe. But here in the Philippines, syempre, it's sad to know that some of the LGBTQ people, parang they celebrate Pride lang talaga pagka June. But the true essence of Pride kasi is love love and acceptance, and kumbaga it should be 365 days a year, parang ganon.
Yes.
Mm.
Para
Agree.
every day is a pride day, parang ganyan. So we're happy that now, syempre, since nag-i-ease na rin ang mga restrictions, we're able to do it. And meron nga tayong two major prides na nangyari, di ba? Pride Parade. So we have the Metro Manila and then we have the Pride PH. And then we have the multifaceted festivities then in Visayas and Mindanao. So very hats off to the organizers. Ako personally, pag Pride Month, talagang more push tayo sa sex positivity kasi kadikit din ng topic na 'yan ang LGBTQ, no?
Oo.
Correct.
Uh,
Correct.
and then number two, of course, HIV and AIDS awareness and prevention.
Mhm.
That's second. And then of course mental health, because there's a data, there's 'di ba, may statistics that most of the people na talagang merong anxiety and depression nasa community Nasa
Yes.
community because
Yes.
sila ang mas natatamaan talaga ng mga ganitong cases, and at the same time sila yung mas nafi-feel na parang walang makakausap, 'di ba? So mas
Yes.
kailangan nila ng tulong din. And the women also. So, of course, pagka ganun, we have to be more active, we have to be more visible
Yes.
because Pride is also a celebration but a protest then. So, But you know,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, it's all about being brothers and sisters to each other, diba? Yeah.
Yes.
Community. And I,
Yes.
I really love that you spoke about mental health as well. Because kami rin within my nation, we do have that data that proves na the LGBTQ community, talaga, they're very vulnerable to mental health concerns because of the anxiety that comes from the fear of not belonging, or maybe even the confusion in themselves, hindi pa nila na-accept, and so many others, diba? And it's led to a lot of unfortunate incidents then within the community that we hope will not be repeated anymore. In what other ways does the lack of acceptance, love that you said, and equality affect one's well-being or way of life? Like if you feel like you do not have that support, if you feel like you don't have that sense of community, how does it affect you as an individual within the community as well? Richard.
Sure. I think I would sum it up into two things. One is overall movement, and second is mindset. If you think that your community doesn't support you, it actually affects how you move. Like physical,
Yes.
na parang sometimes like as simple as when you know na itong lugar na to hindi siya supportive, yung lakad mo going to that place slower than usual.
Yeah.
So, meron kang ganyang intuition. Or if you know that that place is actually isn't very supportive, your hand gestures, your everything are just very minimal because you don't want to be judged. So I think that's the physical manifestation of you thinking na okay, there is inequality in this place. Second is also like mindset deep inside, and mindset on how you actually look at things. Na on we talk about it like the total well-being, right? Emotional and mental health. If you don't feel that support, it affects how you think of yourself and how you believe in yourself at some point, and hence leading to mental health issues of anxiety, depression, etc. And at the same time, how you also kind of timbang yourself, like how you weigh yourself in the bigger scheme of things. Na parang pa, u- pa, pa, pakonti ng pakonti yung nafe-feel mong weight that you have in the world, and hence you want to just be spread out through the thin air and just be gone at some point, which is a very unfortunate situation. So yeah, I guess yun talaga yung impact niya. So we need to push for one, how we encourage that moving uniquely and you yourself is just fine. And second is your mindset is not anchored on your own sexual orientation. It is actually anchored on your principles, your upbringing, and then your years, your formative years, as Makoy mentioned earlier.
Beautifully said. And having said that, nga, mindset and all of these things, as a follow-up question, and this is for you both, and we can start with McCoy.
Mhm.
What would be your advice for those that are currently experiencing these challenges for their mental health as well? And how do you practice that self-love during tough times?
You know, especially when the pandemic happened, 'di ba? Parang to our listeners and viewers, 'di ba? You had this kind of feeling na shocks, parang nag-ano yung circle of friends ko ah. Parang dito ko nalaman sino talaga ang ano, ang final kumbaga ang final 15, 'di ba? The preliminaries na tinatawag ano. So, ako, syempre, ang mabibigay natin na advice para sa mental health, not only to the community, but also across all, no? Number one would be, you know yourself na alam mo dapat sa sarili mo sino yung mga tao na pwede mong lapitan in times of trouble.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Kasi you have the friends na pang-inuman, you have the friends na pang malalim na usapan. 'Di ba,
Mhm.
di ba sabi nga nila, there are two type of friends. One is yung kailangan mo na alcohol, yung isa hindi mo kailangan na alcohol. Yung ganon.
Tama
'Di ba?
naman.
So you assess yourself, sino yung sa circle ko, sino yung yung makakausap ko in times of trouble. Number two would be siguro din, konting self-preservation. Like minsan if alam mo na sa state mo na you can't function much, 'di ba? You can't perform. Uh dapat nagsa-self-preserve ka din at the same time na inaano mo din na yung hindi ka afraid to say to this person na, "Sorry, I'm not at hindi ako 100% ngayon. So, pwede bang pag-usapan natin, ipagpaliban natin?" And be more open to talk also. Kasi, yun din ang nangyayari kapag hindi tayo open about mental health, 'di ba? Ah, nagda-die down yung issue. Kumbaga nagda-die down din yung conversations about it. So we should be talking more about it para nandun pa din siya. 'Di ba? Nasa top of mind natin siya and people are aware and hindi sila magkakaroon ng judgments. Kasi hindi yung nakakalungkot, 'di ba? Minsan may judgments na, isip-isip mo lang 'yan. Baka puyat ka lang. 'Di ba yung mga
Grabe.
gano'n? 'Di ba?
Yeah.
Dapat mawala rin yung mga ganong statements from them, no? So yun, self-preservation, of course, empathy, 'di ba? People should be more empathetic these times. Kahit hindi pandemic o wala, kailangan we have an open heart.
Mhm.
Thank you, Makoy. Richard.
Yeah, very well said, McCoy. I think number one talaga is you have to recognize what you're going through. I think I like your statement earlier na meron ka mga friends na sasabihin sa'yo, Besh, inaartehan mo lang. Tigilan mo yan. And in truth naman talaga, you have to recognize na if you're feeling something that is coming from reason. And it's not like umaarte ka lang, but because there is something in you that affects your total well-being. Second, I think my take is that you have to reach out because sometimes these are new things to you. Even if you've lived in this world for about 70 years, there will still be new things to you. And you have to reach out to experts so that you can help process and you can help also align ano ba talaga yung next step? How do I get rid of this feeling? How do I feel better at the end of the day? And lastly is that you have to take time to also recharge na, taking necessary pauses. I think yung pandemic, 2 years of recharge siya baka sobra, pero recharge in a way na you fueling yourself with wisdom, choosing your right friends, choosing the right avenues, and choosing like other learning opportunities for you to improve on in life. So yun yung three things that I would say how to like cope with it and deal with it.
Mhm. I really love your answers, Makoy and Richard. So the other part, since a lot of parang our viewers are also like in the workplace, Richard, parang you've been a leader in different multinationals.
Mhm.
How was diversity and inclusion really
Mhm.
practiced? And maybe you can share like some ways like leaders and companies can support LGBTQ members in the workplace.
Sure. I think I mentioned it in my podcast with Bianca Gonzalez. Parang diversity is like you're invited to a party and you're there. Okay, it's a composition, but inclusivity means that you can dance freely with no one's judging you. So I think that's the main difference. So I think what we have to break is that we say that diversity means inclusivity. It's not. One is potential energy, the other one is kinetic, more active, more inclusive, and more like deliberate in that sense. Second is that we have to make sure that everything is merit based or performance based. So I think even for women, we don't just put women in like the leadership role para lang may babae there and to say na, I mean, diverse kasi kami eh. Parang meron naman kami niyan. Okay, lagyan natin ng isang ganyan. So hindi tayo para mga chess pieces na ilalagay to complete the cast of characters. So if we are promoting people, we are like advancing people because their skills are apt for the job and then at the same time they deserve it, then that's a recognition of like through skill, and that's for company. And I think last one is that I applaud for I applaud those companies na parang taking little steps. But I think it's about time for them to think beyond. So it's not about putting up posters on the wall, putting up flags, and making the place colorful. Hindi siya party. Isa siyang katulad yan ng sinabi ni Makoy, protest siya, and at the same time, it's also like giving that perspective that you can be yourself at any given point in time. So hindi siya checklist. By the time na June, you have to really walk the talk by ensuring that every day you make someone feel included. And hopefully by the end of the season, we won't be needing like inclusivity month kasi lahat included na.
Correct. I love that. How about Makoy? Parang in terms of you mentioned earlier, di ba, in the ad industry na generally accepted naman eh. And maybe related to yung kanina sinasabi nga na may role na piniplay by society imposed na roles. Is that something you've experienced or nakaalis ka rin ba sa role na yon? Or I don't know, maybe are there mentors since there was I mean a bit more of you, were there mentors who helped you like um get out or maximize I guess the opportunities in
Mm.
that industry?
Oh, that's nice, no? Um, well, in the past 8 years kasi that I'm working with the advertising industry, uh, my last two bosses are part of the community. And one of my boss naman is naging part siya ng 30 under 30 ng Campaign Asia. So
Wow.
30 under 30 is the parang award 'yon, 'di ba, for
Mm-mm.
outstanding advertising practitioners na less than 40 years old, tapos managerial role na, or parang top executive na, no? So syempre naging mentor ko siya when I was still in a media agency. And syempre minsan may mga clients or brands ka na makaka-work na pag alam na yung itsura mo is hindi akma dun sa iyong orientation or identity, minsan may mga mata-mata, 'di ba? So, pagka gano'n, syempre mafe-feel niya 'yon, and since you have good intuition naman, kailangan maramdaman mo din 'yon at makikisama ka. But in the ad industry or other industries also, like for example, yung napuntahan ko na talk last week for a tech giant, no, a tech company, IT industry, lahat ng LGBTQ na nandoon sa event na yon, regardless, uh, yung domestic partners nila covered na ng HMO. So it's a big leap for the community. It's a big leap for the company also. Kasi nire-recognize nila, 'di ba? And meron din silang mga LGBT organizations na inorganize, not just only in Manila but also sa lahat ng offices na present yung company. Like for example, in Montreal, in Tokyo, 'di ba? In Thailand. So it's a big thing. And of course, etong mga LGBT organizations na to inside the advertising agencies, kapag meron ding ibang offices, sila-sila din na nagtutulungan in terms of resources. Like for example, can we get a media insight in Bangkok because we want to cross-check kung aligned ba sila sa Manila. So, para pag may i-run na campaign or advertising campaign dito sa Manila, ma-apply namin yung insights nyo. So, yung ganon. It's a kumbaga, 360-degree approach ang nagiging tulungan in the community.
Yeah, ang ganda. And I love that. And I hope na more industries, especially the ones that are still very traditional in how they treat inclusivity or how they treat other genders in general, get to follow suit with how the ad industry is currently doing it so far. Now, we go and move forward now to how to really harness that truth and stepping out and really being your truest self. What keeps you hopeful and inspired to live your truth? And do you have also any advice for allies like us on how we can support the LGBTQ community, our loved ones, in that journey to being proud to be who they are? We can start with you, Makoy, again.
Okay, so for the allies, syempre, marami tayong mga ipaglalaban pa, 'di ba? Just be there for us. Just be there for us. Huwag kayong mawala or kumbaga, huwag kayong nandiyan lang pag kailangan namin kayo. Di ba yung mga ganong bagay? Di ba may mga ganong kasabihan?
Correct.
Parang, nandiyan ka lang naman pag may ano pag Pride Month. Pero pag wala na, nasan ka? Kasi I think
Mhm.
the true being a true ally or true allyship, yung naiintindihan mo yung struggles ng LGBTQ, 'di ba? Na parang if I ask you, what's your stand sa mga what's your stand like for example sa mga transgender na sumasali sa pageants, 'di ba? Kunwari pag pambabae dapat ba biologically kumbaga cis woman lang ba talaga ang sasali? O kailangan alam mo kung yung stand niya,
That's
Stand.
it.
'di ba?
Mhm.
Oo. So, yung mga ganon. And if hindi kayo aligned ng sagot, you educate each other, 'di ba? You make ends meet, kumbaga. Healthy discourse ang mangyayari dito. So just be there for us and know our struggles. Kasi minsan di mo alam yung pinagdadaanan ng LGBTQ na pagdadaanan din ng alay. So
Correct,
kumbaga,
correct.
tulungan lang din naman tayo dito parehas. And number two would be, ang LGBTQ naman, nandyan lang din. At kung kailangan nyo naman kami or kung kailangan nyo sila, nandyan lang din sila. 'Di ba? Tulungan. And pride is not just about celebration and protest, but it's also bayanihan, 'di ba? Kumbaga, nai-impart mo rin yung Filipino value of bayanihan in pride, no? So, 'yun ang ano natin doon, bayanihan. Pride is bayanihan, 'di ba?
Ganda.
Ganda.
Yeah.
How about you, Richard?
So for me, I think I'll tackle the second question, which is for the allies.
Yeah.
Correct with McCoy. You have to ensure that you matter load, and like you really educate yourself because you don't want to be in a stage na okay because you have a friend you already you already are an ally. It doesn't work that way. Parang it works also you nurturing with the right tools, the right the right lessons or even the right theories behind like the entire world of LGBTQIA. So I think yun yung very important. And second for the allies also is make sure that hindi ka parang superman or superwoman na parang kung nasa at the state of weakness yung person, yun yung pagiging ally mo. You also highlight the strength of that person. Like you're a cheerleader at the same time you're a savior. So yun yung two roles na piniplay. And then I think to your first question, how do you really come out from your truest self is that I'd go with living your truth na tagline that we have, di ba? Living your truth, merong dalawang active word there. So one is live, which means that your reasons to live has to be very very clear na parang para saan ka ba talaga, sabi nga, para saan ka bumabangon, para kanino ka bumabangon, and that won't necessarily define who you are. And then second is being true. Being true means embracing your own authenticity, your own stories, and kung ano man yung ma-produce mo in your years of being alive, be proud
Yeah.
of it. So yun yung aking advice.
I love it. I mean, I'm very honored to be here, and I love being with you guys. And yun nga, sabi niyo nga, hindi lang to dapat mag-end sa Pride Month or June 30. It has to happen 365 days a year. So, maybe you can share with our viewers tonight, like, where can we find you guys, like, in terms of groups or advocacy, so we can support way past this month? Maybe Makoy, you want to start first?
Yes, marami tayong mga partners and marami tayong mga organizations na pwede nating tulungan, 'di ba? Pwede nating ialay ang ating mga kamay para matuloy ang kanilang mga initiatives. So love yourself. Yes, that's number one naman din. So love yourself. They provide free HIV testing. Oo. And they also help our trans brothers and sisters para sa kanilang transition journey. So the Transcend by the Love Yourself is there para tulungan sila.
Mhm.
Of course, the Red Whistle also para naman din sa HIV and AIDS education and prevention. And then MindNation, syempre,
Mhm.
for uh, para MindNation. I've learned about MindNation last year kasi meron akong friend na parang nagpa-consult yata with you guys. And then, yun nga, na-mention niya na meron kayong community. So that's MindNation also. And then last would be, I know marami rin tumutulong sa Golden Gaze Foundation, no? Wag din nating kalimutan yung mga kapatid natin na nag-pave the way, 'di ba?
Mhm. Mhm.
Silang mga nauna sa atin, so wag natin silang kakalimutan. Yan.
Yeah, I mean,
How about you, Richard?
as for me, I'm with MindNation, so I think I would like highlight that any question, I think it's about your total well-being. So we're tackling it not on your orientation, but anything that you are going through from a well-being dimension standpoint, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, social, and cultural challenge, as part of the LGBTQIA community or as an ally, we are here to help you. So it's not just about talking to experts, but I mean, if you go to our website, there are also like activities there which you can do. Just check asan ka ngayon, like at this very point in time, ano pinagdadaanan mo, and then we can start from there. I think the other bit is that you don't have to reach out to us only if you're feeling depressed, but if you're thriving, gusto mong sobrang maging happy pa, why not? So we're ito yung current offerings that Kat and I will share with you. But and also on a personal standpoint, diba, we're also mental health advocates. So if you have any question, if you don't feel comfortable yet going to the site and you want like a person in mind, then you can just reach out to us directly.
Correct. Add to that na lang then also that with My Nation, it's not just an individual um, uh, journey for you, like what McCoy and Richard mentioned, like even at the workplace, it's very important that the leaders also get to promote inclusion and good well-being at work. So with My Nation, you can also opt and ask for SOGI or sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression trainings and workshops. Then and we
Yes,
provide those
definitely.
with our partners with the LGBTQ community. So that's a wonderful thing. Grabe, what a wonderful discussion tonight. I hope na everybody who's watching na enjoy kayo and you got new insights. We learned so much, new things from McCoy, for their beginnings, their journey, the hardships that they've gone through, and also with their thoughts on the not just the celebration, but also the protest and the fight that we're going through
Mm-hmm.
within Pride Month and beyond, and how we can better take care of our mental health so we can live our truest, most proud self. Any final words, siguro, McCoy and Richard? McCoy.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Mind Nation, for inviting me here. And it's good to see you, Dar, again for the
Yes.
second time. Kat, oo. And si Richard, I hope you're doing well there in New York. To our listeners and mga viewers natin, thank you also for tuning in. Just always remember, 'di ba? Pag may pinagdadaanan ng isang tao, isipin mo parang ang buhay ay climate, 'di ba? Para siyang weather. Parang ang natutunan ko kasi when I was diagnosed with dysthymia 4 years no, parang 6 years ago. And then gumaling ako. And then ay naalala ko sabi sa akin ng psychiatrist ko, "Oh, isipin mo na lang, parang ang buhay ay parang klima." Kasi ba't ako natatawa? Kasi sabi niya, um, hindi man umuulan everyday, 'di ba? So sabi niya, pag may pinagdadaanan ka, dapat tulungan mo yung sarili mo na bumangon everyday kasi at the end of the 365 days in the calendar, ilang araw lang ba umulan? 'Di ba hindi naman lalagpas sa 100 days? Mas lamang pa din yung sunny day. So ganun din sa life, tuloy-tuloy lang, 'wag mapagod bumangon. So that's my message to our viewers. 'Wag mapapagod bumangon kahit anong hirap ng bigat at ng dala-dala, 'wag mahihirapang bumangon.
Ganda. Thank you,
Yep.
Ganda.
Ganda.
McCoy.
Love it, love it.
Yeah. Ako, thank you so much then, McCoy. Maraming salamat for this conversation. I think it's a good culmination to like the Pride Month, or to at least what we're trying to push for and aim for in this very specific period. Ako, when I started working, I always put in my chat status like, don't wait for inspiration, be the inspiration. So sometimes we think of ourselves less of a person, or we think of ourselves as less inspiring person than who we actually see. But you know what? There's something inspiring in you. You can actually inspire others regardless of your own form of expression. So uh, the belief starts from within, and then people will see that, and people will actually get to appreciate you more if you appreciate yourself, if you let yourself be that inspiration not only for others but for yourself as well. So yeah, and then reach out if you need any help, because at some point hindi naman tayo talaga, alam mo yon, titanium, whatever. Kailangan natin ng tulong in whatever form. Just do that. So I'll encourage everyone to do that.
I love that. And
Yes.
i-connect ko lang dun sa sinabi ni Makoy. Minsan kailangan natin ng umbrella. Kailangan natin
Yes.
ng mental health to weather the storms that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Just get up. Just have that courage to get up. And there are communities or people that are willing to help you. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
everyone, na in the journey to taking care of your truest self and embracing your truth, taking care of your mental health is also a must. If you need any help talking about issues, concerns about your sexuality, gender, identity, finding that confidence, or you just need someone to talk to during a rainy day, MindNation is always
Yes.
here 24/7. You can message us anytime. It's free. And the well-being coach or a mental health first aider will actually be there to take care of you. And you can book a psychologist or a psychiatrist anytime. Meron rin kami mga packages for anti-anxiety, depression healing that you can avail. So the link and the details are, you can see it scrolling down there at the screen. Visit MindNation on Facebook or message us anytime. You can message Richard or myself, and we'll try to be there to support.
Yes, and so that's why we're so excited that every end of the month, wag nating kakalimutan na meron tayong show with the BDJ Studio and Mind Nation, so we can do our reminders for mental health check-in. And let's also not forget, if you have a friend or someone that you know who might need to hear this, everything that we discussed for tonight, please
Correct.
do share this video, and we hope to see you again next month. And with that, thank you, Mahoy. Thank you,
Thank
Richard.
you.
And of
Thank you so
course, thank you,
much.
Kat.
Thank
Thank
So we're
you.
you.
wishing everyone a better mind and better you.
Happy
Thank you. Good night,
Pride.
Happy
Bye.
everyone.
Pride.
Good
Good
night.
Happy
night.
Pride
Happy
Month.
Pride. Bye-bye.